Yo, what up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Binge Eater Podcast. Your boy, the South Bouse. Harley, I'm here with Big Lynch on the ones and twos, and Donnie Duckett's holding it down. And we got fight week. Still doing this boxing thing. At the time of this recording, it's exactly 7 days away. I still have a black eye from the last time I did sparring. And this is weird for me because I never ever thought I would be fighting, never a fighting person like that. I was physical when I played football, but the idea of punching or fighting or using footwork, anything like that, ridiculous. The fact that I'm getting in the ring with John Morrison, completely insane. If you guys don't know John Morrison, by the way, legendary, iconic, former WWE wrestler, just like a seriously a legend in the space. This guy's one of these random heavyweight fighters who does backflips and like that. I saw him do a backflip holding a whole ladder and land on 7 dudes.
Honestly, since we've been talking about this guy, the one thing I've been saying to describe when people are like, "Who's that?" I'm like, he can do a backflip. That's been the benchmark from the get-go of how to judge whether this guy's a good fighter.
What do you think what does that mean? Because Nicole was laughing because I was looking at some footage, like where we've been filming a bunch of stuff leading up to it, we're releasing some content, and she's just like laughing. I'm like, "What are you laughing about? Like, what's so funny?" And she's like, "He's doing backflips off the ropes." And she's like, "And Harley's boxing him." I'm like, "What does that mean though?" Like she was like cracking up. She thought it was like the funniest thing.
Everyone I talk to, I'm always like, "Oh my God, yeah, I'm boxing this guy." They're like, "Yeah, but he's a wrestler. He doesn't know how to box." I'm like, "Bro, I'm Jewish."
No, what it comes down to is athleticism. He's a professional athlete. If you could do a backflip like that, then you have this.
Then you could probably punch Harley.
Yeah, like there's a spatial awareness. You have this like spatial awareness of your body that the average person doesn't have at that level.
Sure, but boxing is very technical. Like
Super
boxing
technical.
is one of those things like you can't just start boxing today, and like it takes a long time to just get it down.
Everything that people say to kind of encourage me are things that are always that make it worse. So I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not technical." Like everything that I'm like, "Yeah, but he just started boxing." I just started boxing. But you know, you're used to getting in front of a crowd. He gets in front of a crowd all the time and does this in a ring. He knows the ring. He knows like the ring. He's been in one for like 15 years professionally.
Well, what does Vegas say? What are the odds on these fights?
It's a good question.
We got to get gambling.
You want to get gambling?
It's probably illegal for me to gamble as the assistant Don of Drippin'.
The Dawn of a Jarippin. The Dawn of a Jarippin. Yeah, getting in this boxing match is just, it's crazy that it's still happening. In many ways, last year was trippier because I was in Rhode Island doing things to the Rhode Island boys.
Like Stewie and Brian off on a road to Rhode Island.
Was that we actually had Family Guy on me and Donnie right before we watched this. Was that a reference from that or
no? This is like in season 4 or something.
Bro, don't be deep cut referencing Family Guys.
I'm sure
you're not in the space, but it's very Discord mod of you.
Everyone who's a fan of Harley Mornstein knows Road to Rhode Island.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
maybe.
All right. Well, deep cut then. Call yo.
What are you doing? Like, what's your mentality like week of? So like we're not in the same city. We haven't like seen each other in person in quite some time. We're going to be linking up in a few days here. What is it? Because every time I talk to you, you seem to be boxing, which it sounds like a good idea. Like it sounds like that's a chill move. And just so everyone knows, like in Montreal this week, there happened to be like an absolutely epic ice storm.
Oh, we should address our lateness.
In fact, this podcast was probably not going to happen, and then the boys, they came through in the end. Power came back on, and we're rushing this out. So
we had no power for a couple days there. It was driving me crazy.
But then I spoke to you, and you're like, "Oh, I'm boxing on like the day which was the worst part of the ice storm." I was like, and in my head, I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's chill. That's a good idea. Like that's smart." But
still
like,
have to box John Morrison. It's not like I'm going to get in there, get knocked out. Like there was an ice storm last week, and I missed a couple days.
But when you say you're boxing, were you boxing by yourself? Or were you going to boxing with Jesse? Like
Today I was boxing by myself when I hit you guys back up. But yeah, no, I was at the gym with Jesse.
With
hitting
boxing
pads
in the dark, like just making it happen.
Yeah, well, there's windows there. You could see enough.
Okay.
It was good.
Okay.
It was chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I ended up practically sleeping at my gym because I have like a VIP access there. So the locker room had power. I was able to charge my stuff. There was a shower there. I felt like one of those gym weirdos that I've seen at the gym over the years. Sometimes there are people like I would
that
go to the gym
way too comfortable making a sandwich on the bench. Like.
Almost like I'd go to the gym like 3 or 4 a.m. just being like weird. Over the years I've been a member of this gym for like 2 decades, and sometimes there's just people that I'd be like, oh, this guy's always here this late. So there's a guy that I used to see sleep on the machine, one machine. He'd always go there and be sleeping on it. And he just doesn't want to go home, or who knows what.
I was going to say
idea.
hates his fucking wife.
No idea. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Creator Clash 2. Last year was very trippy. This one I feel more comfortable. I'm going in with a lot more heat because I was fighting people on Twitter a whole bunch. And also like me, like, you know, Donnie's called me a fence sitter multiple times offline. But it's funny because if I were at Creator Clash 2 and I saw Sam had mentioned that he was going to be showing up in drag or something like that, and he was like, we need 50 people, we're going to all go in as costumes, and I don't know if that's legit or like psychological warfare on the event because they're going to, you know, try and look for, I don't know what it would be, but I mean, if they came up to me and they're like, yo, you know Sam the best, you saw him the most, you got to come out, there's like 50 people in drag, you have to point out which one's Sam. I can't help you guys with this. It's a conflict of interest. He was my coach for 2 weeks. So yeah, he also posted that he needs high-powered laser pointers. If you have high-powered laser pointer or laser projectors and you're going to Creator Clash, he wants you to hit him up.
If you got like a 2 nanowatt green laser.
Yeah, something like that. And, I just feel like the way the situation is right now, even just posting that, like that's already the prank. Because now it's like they have to mobilize to protect from lasers, even though it could just be like an Insta story.
Right. Also, you know, bringing you out to, I don't know, this is like some hypothetical thing you're making out, but imagine them asking you to come point out which one we need your skills to find Sam. You're like, bro, I'm fighting in a couple hours. Fuck off. I'm not working security here. It's not even about a conflict of interest. Imagine
it's like funny because like all these people in like drag costumes, and one of them is literally 6'5". He's like a huge guy. It's very clear. A part of me sometimes with Creator Clash 2, a part of me is like, damn, I wish I could just watch all this go down and not know every person involved, not have spent time with every person involved, and instead just be on the outside and be like, yo, this is crazy. But I have to go and I have to fight. Plus, I'm going in with a lot of heat. So, like, if I get knocked out, I got to kind of deactivate social media for a bit. I got to like go. I got to be like, yeah, Keemstar, you know, you're right. And then, like, I got to deactivate social media and take a break for a bit. So if that happens, if I get knocked out, I'm going to have to sit out of social media for a minute.
You're going to come back as a...
We'll put your brother in as a stand-in.
No. I was gonna say it should be like you got to get like someone big. You got to get like Chills or like Dame Drops.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not.
You don't want your brother to come in?
I don't want another sour-faced Jew. I'm done with that.
But in all seriousness, we've really talked about a lot of ranch on this podcast. All that aside, the ranch conversation continues.
Okay.
And now, you know, I read the most interesting stat and their justification for this. The guys who released the ice cream, the ranch ice cream, those sickos.
Yeah.
Now they got pickle flavored ranch. Now, okay. I was like, okay, that's whatever. Interesting story. I'm like, that's pickle. I like pickle. I like dill pickle chips. Like, I'm down.
And shout out to John Pickle.
But they said, according to this, they said there's been a noticeable uptick in pickle fandom over the last couple of years. Pickle products have jumped 67% between 2019 and 2022.
I believe that. You can go to the corner store and you can buy a pickle in a bag.
Singular pickle. Yeah,
one pickle in a bag, a spicy pickle in a bag. I see it, and I'm just like, okay, we buy a pickle as a snack. I bought 2 pickles. They were not good.
So you've noticed the pickle game.
I went to the bro. I bought a pickle in a plastic bag at a gas station. It was one pickle floating in red juice, and it said hot pickle, and it was like a sexy pickle on the front wearing makeup. And like I bought it and like opened it and like sipped it because no, it was just a hot pickle, and I was feeling like I should buy this hot pickle in a bag.
It's kind of hilarious that we're talking about this because like we had the blackout and the ice storm, and we've been without power. We're rushing out this podcast, and I went to go buy food that I can eat without cooking. And I bought this giant jar of pickles. So now we're talking about pickles. Dude, I've eaten more pickles in the last 48 hours than I've eaten in the last 48 months. I swear to God, I am running on pickle right now.
What kind of pickles do you get?
They're like a dill garlic pickle.
Bro, you hit me with a sweet pickle.
I was just going to say, bro.
Mad. I'm so mad at that.
No, I like those.
No, sour is possible.
Hot chicken on a hot chicken sandwich, cool. You can then put a sweet pickle in there. Otherwise, get out of my face,
bro. You don't think at 2:30 a.m. I like to get a nice butter pickle, fish it out with a little fork right out of the jar, and just have one butter pickle slice.
Is there anything more annoying than trying to get that last few pickles out of the bottom of a giant fucking jar? Like it's like a claw game.
I don't like what any of these jars do to my knuckles with how big my hand is. When I have to get the bottom of the peanut butter, the jam, I get it on my knuckles. I get jam on my knuckles. I get peanut butter on my knuckles.
It's dicey.
But do you guys think ranch is going to make a like they're really stepping into the pickle game? Do you think
pickle ranch sounds completely normal? It's not.
Yeah, exactly. If you've arrived at ranch,
what are you putting that?
I would dip
everything you put ranch on, I'd put pickle ranch on.
Well, what's everything you put your ranch on? Because
I don't fucking eat ranch.
Pizza. So how are we supposed to know?
I'll put ranch on my pizza.
It. Yeah, I don't put carrots.
Yeah,
sure, bro.
Oh,
dude, I would even put like French fries into that.
Okay.
Put my finger in there, wiggle it around a little bit.
And what do you do when it comes out?
Lick it up and down. I think you know that.
Okay. I actually had a very. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to keep talking about licking my pickle finger, but
okay, enjoy that. I did something happened to me today that made me think of you guys. And I was on FaceTime.
And then you came
with my father. That's awkward now. But
exactly.
I was talking
cut that.
I was on FaceTime with my parents, and my dad in the background is like snacking away. That's where I get my snacking genes from. Is from my father. He loves.
He's like, I'm eating chocolate.
He's like, he's talking to my kid, and he's like in the background, and he has this like bread he's ripping apart, and he's putting almond butter and cream cheese and just doming it. And I'm like, ooh,
not mad at it at all.
I was pretty mad at it. I wasn't into it. I was like, almond butter and cream cheese?
You can't be though.
No.
Because of Reese's peanut butter cup cheesecake is not that far off.
He's close.
This is a deconstructed and healthy version.
Definitely a healthy version of that.
Of like a Reese's peanut butter cheesecake.
Wow.
You know what? I think that should be next week's our next
down peanut butter and cream cheese next
peanut butter. No, almond butter. Almond butter.
Let's do almond butter, bro.
You know what's funny about next week is I should say this. Next week we're probably not gonna be able to release an episode on Monday, just as a heads up. Because we're all going to be in Tampa, and it'll be like the first Monday after your bout with.
So we're going to talk about your win.
I'm hoping we get on and we release kind of midweek or something like that. Just trying to get something out as quickly as possible. But the reality is we're not going to get it out on Monday.
This fucking episode we come on, we're like, sorry, this one's late. The next one's late.
This one's not going to be late. I'm going to edit this.
You're going to, he's going to bang it out. Yeah. Leave this in, though, so that they know how hard you worked.
It's fine. I'll be on an airplane. Let's figure it out. Pray for me.
Airplane mode.
Can I ask, so, it was Easter this past weekend. And you guys are...
Happy Easter, everyone.
You guys are Jews. It was also Passover.
So was Jesus, for the record. But okay, continue.
Okay. Do you guys enjoy Easter? Like, did you guys do like Easter egg hunts? You know, you guys have a good time?
No.
Because Subway had a really good time.
Well, you didn't really care about if you.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't realize the whole thing was a segue.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just a segue for your fucking. Okay.
You know, that's good. Subway.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, we're not getting paid for this. Fuck Subway. So
That's true. That's true. But Subway's out here doing
Tell
the
us
most.
more about Suckway.
What are they doing the most? Are they doing the most? Like, we've done a lot of stories.
Bro, they're so desperate. It's just tell everyone what they did this time because it's too ugly. Just tell them.
They are they're putting melting Cadbury eggs onto
in between bread.
In between bread.
Bread that they're making like
Not just the Subway
Italian
bread.
scent.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Choose like you choose like urban cheese, I guess.
By the way, I would eat
cheddar.
this.
Oh, 100%.
I would eat
This is
this.
delicious.
This is
probably
terrible.
one of the tastiest Subway sandwiches because Cadbury Creme Egg is fire.
It is fire.
However, I want to know what
shrinkflation.
they're doing. Are they
Fucked up.
taking actual Cadbury Creme Eggs, opening them up, laying 4 out, maybe giving a little knock with a mallet, and then putting it in the toaster? Or are they opening up like a tin fucking thing and taking out a soup ladle and taking melted cat? Because I don't like that.
Definitely not putting.
I don't want that.
They're definitely not unwrapping eggs back there. But this is
maybe.
fucking stupid, man. Like, what, you're gonna bite through a cream egg into mustard and
No,
tomatoes
you don't
and
do
shit?
any of that. You just put it's just on bread.
No, you're not allowed to put anything. It's not. You're actually not allowed.
Oh, okay. I thought they were making sandwiches.
No,
Oh, they're selling 500 of these.
Oh no,
for-
okay, no, this is fire.
Yeah,
They're
what are we
not
talking
even
about?
selling. It's
For fun.
it's free. They're free and they're free. It's
they
only
know
in the
that they
UK
know
and
better
Ireland.
than to charge for this. They don't want to
This is
sit
fire.
there
But
and
maybe they're testing
offload
it
all
out.
this shit later.
This is just shitty cake.
This
yes,
is like
yes,
a
he's
really.
right.
Oh,
It's a bad cake.
Yeah, it's a bad cake.
it's
I
like
was
kind of
on-
Nutella. It's like just basically Nutella.
Exactly. My girlfriend was showing me on Instagram that there's like a place not far from us, Harley, where they're doing these Cadbury Creme Egg ice cream. Like,
So what I've noticed about Cadbury Creme Egg, what people will do is they will take chunks of milk chocolate and a caramel sauce and call that the Cadbury Creme Egg. Like that's enough. I've
okay,
seen that.
well,
And
I
I don't like
don't
that.
endorse that.
But
yeah.
that's like, for example, that's what McDonald's Cadbury Creme Egg McFlurry was.
It's just
It was just chocolate chunks and caramel sauce.
That's
That's
terrible.
and
That's
the
like when I got fucked on my red velvet Oreo. I don't even want to talk about McFlurries. They don't deserve the airtime.
Oreo McFlurry is good. Yeah.
It is. It is. Just-
McDonald's is good ice cream.
I got screwed.
You just gotta have no expectations. That's it.
Lynch, you're the hype beast guy. Is this whole hype beast shit done? Like Supreme and all that? Like, are we done with all that? What's going on?
Yeah.
But that's all done?
I think we entered the Gorpcore stage, and then I think we've passed that now.
Yo.
So
It
now
is.
I feel like we're in this like consume corp stage because this Pizza Hut made a bucket hat
Oh,
like that IKEA bucket hat that was like the bag at IKEA. Pizza Hut one, it looks like the old Pizza Hut chandeliers, like the red and white checkered lamp,
Right.
or just like a red one. And it seems like people love consuming these days. I love to consume. Look how stupid it is behind me. Like Marvel, fucking disgusting.
It's funny
WWE,
because it's like it's art.
I consume. I am
Yeah.
a consumer. So a Pizza Hut bucket hat is like fun and funny to me. But is it fun and funny to normal people? Who's
well, I
it
think
for?
I think that what's interesting about it is that it has. I feel like it touched on a couple of things that's happening right now, because I've also noticed we're kind of back in the like our era of clothing, like the 90s. Like I see people wearing baggy jeans again.
Aren't you happy,
baggy
Lynch, that
pants.
you never picked your pants up properly your entire life?
That's
Aren't you happy you never
That's not
committed to wearing your pants normally?
Haven't you seen me in meetings? I wear.
Oh yeah, it's like when you were
Okay.
working like. Cause I'm sure you pulled up with your pants properly, but when
Don't
you
talk
went
to me like
outside,
that, bro.
have like a rig with the boys that work next door or whatever, you
No,
for sure
no.
pulled your pants down a little bit. And you're like, oh,
No,
it's good.
no,
It's
no.
big
You go out, you pour out a little coffee.
I'm a father now. Don't ever talk about me like that, okay? But they're tapping into this. Actually, this chandelier showed up on the on that nostalgia TikTok we put up of all the restaurants. You know, where it's like Wendy's and like,
yeah,
you know,
with the solarium at Wendy's.
And so I feel like this is just they're just tapping like 90s culture is like come back in to, I guess.
Yeah, well, doesn't it make sense, like, to get fucking...
Well, we are the consumers. We are like in our 30s, and everything we care about probably is like...
No, it's not that. It's because the world is dying, man. It's because everything's fucking terrible and everything's a fight, and nostalgia's all about longing for a better time.
But you're biased.
Yeah.
It's because what's going on, I think Lynch is more accurate here. We are running everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, we are now running everything, and we're not growing up. We're not, like, we can't. It's not the same. Like, everything that how we were supposed to grow up is not happening. Like, houses are $2 million. We're not growing up because we can't do the things that we're supposed to do as grown-ups. So we're going to these jobs, and we're like, fuck y'all. We're doing 40 Marvel movies. Everyone loved Marvel. Modern Warfare 2 is coming out again. Bleach is coming back. We're watching that anime again. We're doing all these things again. Like, and we're just like Resident Evil 4. Like, I'm doing all the things I've done before because we just don't want to change that. We're like, no, we're not doing new shit. All of you guys are now going to experience our shit.
Yeah.
And
everyone's going to watch Friends in The Office until they die.
The one thing that actually, when I think about having a kid, is I'm like, damn, like, I kind of am built to have a kid now, in the sense that a lot of my buddies' kids who are like walking and talking, like, they'll text me and be like, yo, my kid wants to know, he has some questions about Dr. Doom. Can he call you? I'm like, yeah, have him call me. Like, I'm built for the kids now. So like when I have a kid, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be like that, like, you know, when they're like, your dad's like, Dean Martin died, and you're like, who? And he's like, you don't know Dean Martin. You don't know Dean Martin, and you're like, no, Dad, I wasn't born in '58, bro. I don't know Dean, you know, and you're like 20. I'm gonna be that now forever. I'm gonna be, you don't know Dean Martin. When I could have been, let me tell you everything about Dr. Doom. So that's the one thing where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm built for the kids now. You know, I got the VR, I got the fucking video game.
Are you trying to tell us something?
I could just see you with like
you have a child on the way. Is that what's happening here? I sent you guys a nice inspirational TikTok. Maybe you went and did the deed.
Bro, I got murked on Twitter. Like, for this ugliest guy ever said this video to me, and his kid was in the background. Like, he was just ignoring his kid to yell at me. And I was just like, oh, this guy's so ugly. But people were like, yeah, well, he has kids. What do you have? And I was like, bro.
Ouch.
We could all nut in someone.
Yeah.
Look at all of this.
I do think that it is
like it was a kid as the means of success was just really funny. Because then I was like, damn, what about people with like 12 kids? Are they the most?
Well, there's
successful?
there's a level of, I guess, maturity people think there is when you have a child, and you know.
Yeah. Do you actually believe that though? When you see some of the people that have kids,
I don't believe that. No,
me neither.
I'm not a believer in that because I've seen people's behavior, and people just.
And there's a lot of reasons, like, people have kids. It's not always.
But I'll tell you why you should. Like, people who are watching can see. But like, I got the Little Tykes basketball hoop set up. We've been dunking all weekend. Shit is fucking popping off in my house, man.
Yeah, I've been dunking all weekend too, but I ain't got no kid. You know what I mean?
You've been dunking it nothing in a minute, huh?
But I bet you don't have this sweet hoop just chilling in your.
I could get access to one very quickly.
But you wouldn't, though. But you wouldn't. Okay, you're not. You're not compelled to go to do it. You know, I am. I had to go get this. And now I'm shooting threes all day. Fucking yeah. I fucking dunked all over my daughter like a couple hours ago.
Yeah, you fucking windmilled her and shit.
Reverse. I did a full on windmill. I rejected her. I stole the ball, crossed her up. She's got to learn. You know, she got to learn soon. Anyways,
and you're telling me there was zero goaltending involved?
No, bro. I fucking easily.
I'd like to see the the tapes.
I palmed the ball and took it away and held it up, and I was like, "Look, maybe next year."
You're like, someday, kid.
Yeah,
but not today. And you dunk it in her face.
Yeah. What you sent me earlier today, I thought that was. I never responded to you, but I thought that was a super.
Nobody listening knows what that means.
No, I'm gonna say like Harley. There's this video that H3H3 put out. Ethan Klein put out about him and his MCN, And the reason why this probably isn't like good for what we talk about, because it's just sort of like really inside baseball.
People
what's
like
an
that.
MCN?
People like that.
What's
Okay,
an
so
MCN?
it's a multi-channel network. You don't really call it that anymore. It's more like a, management representation. Essentially someone who brings you deals, helps manage your channel potentially.
Yeah, it's like an agent in a sense.
An agent management, kind of like all in one.
All in one.
And they make it turnkey for you because you're a silly YouTuber in 2015.
No, they were also like super necessary at the beginning of YouTube if you wanted to get paid. They weren't, you couldn't just not anyone could just set up. Nowadays you can just like, they make it very easy for creators to.
We know you could get paid back then also, but they got you better CPMs. They were able to get better ones, individually sell their CPMs at higher rates than the standard YouTube.
The system was built for you to go through this sort of centralized management of channels, essentially, which is like,
it's sort of a YouTube, as it were.
And they take a cut of your stuff. Basically, it could be 10%. Some people had like 80%. Some people signed like 50% in perpetuity. I know some people that signed to a multi-channel network and said, you get 50% of my channel forever. And then their channel blew up. And then they aren't so keen on wanting to upload videos because 50% of it is going to some dude in San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so Ethan apparently had an MCN, broadband TV. That's what it was, right? I think we'd spoke to them a bunch of times at some point.
Yeah, it's a Canadian. It's actually a Canadian company, oddly enough. But yeah,
and they had Ethan was signed to them at one point, something like that, and their contract says they take a percentage of whatever money it is. And who knows? They could have had some guarantee type thing with him. That's why.
He breaks it down. He said he signed up with them because back when he started his channel, he was in Israel. And like Harley, back in the day, it just wasn't as turnkey as it is now. Like now you can create an AdSense account, get approved. Once you hit the metrics, probably like a month between your sort of YouTube metrics, you need to be considered part of the partner program to get paid. And then
you can hit the ground running. They'll get you money right away.
Yeah. In this case, you couldn't get paid in Israel where he was living with his now wife, Hila. And they signed them and like flowed it through somehow. There was some way they did it so they could get paid. And it sounds like the deal was really set up that they would keep their AdSense revenue, and if they bring deals, they can take a percentage, which is like not uncommon, and they still are. I think they still have a contract with them. They still flow.
Yeah, like broadband. It sounds like they would bring them a deal for the podcast, for whatever it was, a show, anything. Like they'll bring them that, but the money went through them, and he wanted to
AdSense.
AdSense and all that, but he wanted to get his donations and subscriptions and super chats from his podcast. Now, I don't care what I signed with anyone. I 100% would go for 100% of my subscriptions and donations and super chats. I would not want to give anything to my management, whatever. And if I did and they were fighting for it, the most I would ever consider, and I would be furious about it, would be 15%. But like I would ideally like land at 10, but I don't even want to have that discussion. It's not like the other money that we're talking about. Personally, that's how it would be with me. So I could understand that he's like taken aback that they were like, yeah, no, this is how we interpret the contract. This is how it is. And it is kind of interesting for a company to swerve on such a popping creator. Like he's still very relevant. He gets the views. I mean, if a company
did you see the number? The discrepancy number was
$625,000.
Yeah, and he said memberships they've only been doing for like it's not this. It's like when they signed the contract, this revenue source didn't exist on YouTube. And so like this is not something they've been doing for a super long time. So if you just do the math, like that's crazy how much.
But also isn't H3 like isn't it like the number 2 podcast in the US or something?
Yeah, but I don't care. He just lost like a lawsuit or something. You want that money. You're like, that 600,000 is like perfect to pay the lawyers now or whatever bullshit he has to deal with this nonsense. And even if I had like, if I had $10 million, I'd be like, I kind of want that 600,000. I could buy my mom a fucking house or something instead of this asshole having it or whoever,
To be fair to them, like I think they run a production company. They have actual production space. They have employees, I mean, I'm sure they're they're doing just fine. If they missed an accounting error of $630,000, someone dropped the ball there, but he did show parts of the paperwork. And I never responded to you, but I thought that interests me. I'm like, this is so interesting that now he put it out there and people are reaching out to him, and he put a part 2 up that I didn't quite get through, where he's talking about other creators are trying to notice the same thing. So I guess they interpreted other revenue in the contract.
These companies they like, I mean, I don't know. I'm just talking.
But they also delayed payment.
This is like when they're about to run away with your money. This is like, if I were Broadband TV and I saw like what happened with Defy, I'd be like, yeah, we got this money. Maybe we just cut this shit down right now and run out of here with all this cash.
Well, do you know what he said? He said that a bunch of the creators on their roster, allegedly, or according to some of them, they delayed their payments. Like Kavos, I think, is who he mentioned, who's with Broadband, because Broadband's huge. They have a ton of creators on their roster, and he said that they are delayed. He's never had a payment delayed, and they're delaying it by 2 weeks. And they mentioned something about some convoluted reason about the banks, how like there's been issues with the banks lately, and it was some weird reason. And I was like, whoa, that sounds weird and not chill if you were someone there. And I mean, we personally know people who got absolutely fucked by MCNs, or by representation, where like, it just did not go well. And like you flow, like what, just so you understand, your flow, any AdSense revenue you make doesn't come directly to you. It goes through this representation, and then they pay it out to you after. So even if you have 100% of that money coming to you, you get put into this sort of content management system, which could be like a good thing. It's like, look, it's not, it's kind of annoying to set up all this stuff to get paid. But I don't know, like someone's delaying a payment by 2 weeks and giving me a weird reason. That'd have me a little bit tripped out. I don't know. So that's a little weird, but they're huge. They're a very big company. I mean, they're one of the bigger ones out there.
And trying to get money from someone is just like impossible if they don't want to give you the money.
Especially if you don't control any of their revenue. All you can really do is try and separate yourself. But, he brings up a good point. Like if he tries to sever his ties, it's not so easy. Like then all of a sudden your channel doesn't generate revenue because it still takes time to like.
You need them to cooperate through this procedure.
Yeah. Or like even just switching to your own ad sets. It takes time. You don't get approved in 1 second. He probably could get approved faster than most people, but it could take a couple of weeks, we've sort of been through that process. But I thought that was just like really crazy. And the fact that delayed payment got me just like, okay.
Well, it's a very stressful life he lives. I like the big things that he goes through. I've gone through them on smaller scales or similar scales to an extent. Some of the stuff though he's gone through is way bigger, but it's just stressful. This guy's been in like dealing with shit like that for like 6 years straight. If you go back to that dude who he made fun of in his first video there, the parkour dating dude.
Oh, that was
and then that was a big ass long lawsuit. And no matter what, even if like you got it locked in and money's good, you just get that stuff. You're like, oh, fuck off with this guy. You like get an email or something. You're like, bro, tell your lawyer to shut up, bro. It's not even a good email.
Well, first of all, have you seen this tweet that he has? Oh my God. Like
Ethan?
You should just paid him the money, man. Settle him or something. He's like, adding BBTV, their CEO and team YouTube, and showing their stock price and saying they took out a $20 million loan to pay off debt and their stock is plummeted 96%, and he's adding all these people. Like that.
Throwing shade.
Like that's like, so it's not even shade. That's like directly in your face calling you out. Like, here you go. That's stressful. That's very stressful.
Oh, yeah. I believe this is the reason why BBTV CEO at whatever chose not to pay us back. Simply, they don't have the money. They took a loan of $20 million to pay off debt. Their stock has plummeted 96%. That's Ethan's like he's the guy in the way that I've seen a lot of people that have been, ripping on me the last few days or whatever, or just getting mad, or just the people that just get mad he's always a target.
Yeah.
Like he's always getting it. He's always getting mashed up, targeted. It's just like sued, whatever. He's doing all that. And then he like shows up to work just like the Penguin.
I just feel like it helps, like in the end, like it's stress. I'm sure like going through a lawsuit sucks, but it seems to me like every time they do this, it just leads to like more probably donations and more people supporting them. And like it creates obviously really interesting content because I mean, I have checked in probably on every lawsuit he's been in. I probably checked in to be like, what's he talking about when he's going after, what's that guy's name? Brian Kavanaugh.
Well, even when this came up, when it was
Ryan.
like H3H getting is owed $625,000. I see that, I'm like, fuck, man, let's go. I feel bad because like that's what it is, and like there's a lot of things on the internet that I consume and I like feel bad, but I'm also like, let's go.
Yeah,
I've watched people getting bullied online. I see people who have been bullied for years, and I'm like, fuck. And then I stop and I think about me, and I'm like, shit, I go to the fighter and the kid subreddit and I consume content. So that's that. And then I'm like, shit, I watch Wings podcasts. I watch Wing streams that aren't uploaded by Wings. They're uploaded by people that don't vibe with Wings. Or Darkside Phil. I'll watch videos that Darkside Phil is not getting, like he didn't upload it. But I could tell you this, and Donnie, you may hate this also. We're fans of Brendan Schaub.
In a sense, yeah.
In a sense, he's one of our favorite content creators. and so is Wings. So is Darkside Phil. And I've thought that I am not going to contribute to the terrorizing of particular people anymore. And whether I witness it or continue to witness it or not, I don't know. But I'm not even going to upvote something.
There's a bunch of
I'm not even going to like get in that much with it anymore.
There's a bunch of right-wing voices that I only hear through Destiny's YouTube.
Yeah.
Like that, like just people I would never watch one of their videos, but for the fact that Destiny's there to like not even necessarily debate them. Sometimes he's just there for like a perspective.
Well, I had it queued up and I never watched it, but it was like Tim Pool and Destiny for like did you watch it?
I did.
Okay, how was that? I didn't watch it because of something that was funny to me about that.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh damn, these are the guys. In the sense that it doesn't matter if whatever you think about it, just with all the conversations and everything and how people are, if you try and just get to like a place where two people can have a conversation, I put that in my queue assuming that's where the conversation could be had. These two people are now going to have a conversation that
it's a lot more amicable than I was expecting.
I thought it would be amicable. They're like at the fence. They're like at the fence there with each other.
It's they're like numbers guys. Like, I'm not saying that in a literal sense. It's just like they both have disseminated the arguments down to the point where they're like, okay, we're both calm. Now let's talk.
Yeah, exactly. How did that go though?
The thing is, like, I'm biased. I'm not a guy to ask because I think a lot of the Tim Pool's takes are just disingenuous. Like, you have to, as soon as you're supporting Trump and stuff like that, it's just like the mental gymnastics around the shit you have to do to pretend that this stuff's okay is just like, it's not a conversation anymore. I don't mind debating things like policies and economics and stuff like that, but when it comes down to
everyone should have a nuke,
you know what I mean?
You didn't like that, eh?
I really didn't like that.
I kind of did a little bit.
I'm kidding. I know you're kidding. And I always try to back this up on this podcast and say that I am kind of a gun guy. Like, let's face it, I do like guns, but I think the Second Amendment's kind of crazy. I think making guns a right is kind of crazy. Like, when it's not a privilege but a right. And calling myself a gun guy, I like guns. I think if you love guns, it's fucked up a little bit.
No, like chill.
You should like them, but when you love them, it's like,
wow, you love knives.
not in a weaponized sense.
But people would say that about, like, I know people that like guns, and if you called it a weapon, they'd be like, bro, relax.
No, I know. I'm kind of going against my own. Like, I don't even necessarily identify with that argument, even though I just said that. We're going off the top.
Nah, you like knives, so you like knives are not allowed.
It's
you like
too
weapons.
late.
This guy loves weapons. Doesn't matter.
Too late.
It doesn't matter.
You're right.
All right, so we are about a week out from Creator Clash 2. You can get tickets at thecreatorclash.com. Proceeds are going to charity. We rallied to have the MS Society as one of the charities for Creator Clash 2, which is important to us, along with the other charities as well. And it's going to be awesome. I've been working out nonstop. I'm going to box a former WWE wrestler. I'm going to head out there. I'm going to put a show on for you all, whether that's going big, which I plan on doing, or getting knocked out, which I don't plan on doing. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a great show. And it's probably going to be hilarious no matter what happens. So you guys should check that out, thecreatorclash.com. Creator Clash 2, it's going down April 15th in Tampa. You can also go see it live if you live in Tampa or you want to travel down there. And I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be nutty, man. What am I doing? This was never part of the plan, but it's happening. Huge shout out to Donnie Duckett's holding it down. Big Lynch as well. Guys, thanks for listening to the Binge Eater. Leave us a comment or a rating, a review, and trust no one except us.